Good morning, everybody. Keith Engle here for TGI Sports Talk. Jack and Keith's weekend at the Playbook. Hope everybody's doing well today. We welcome everybody on the McGrath Podcast Network, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, wherever you might be. Check out all the groups that are always scrolling at the bottom of the screen. And I want to welcome in my co-host, Boxing Hall of Fame writer, and Michael Spink's biographer. Don't forget to get your book, guys. Whoop, real quickly. Michael Jinx. Michael Jinx Spinks. Sorry about that. And Jack Hirsch. How are you, Jack?
Hey, good, Keith.
Good to have you with us this morning. A beautiful Friday morning here at Upstate New York.
Well, thanks for having me, Keith. Thanks for having me on with you.
Yeah, this is my burden in life every morning.
I get criticized if I don't say anything. You always make a comment the way Mac would, and if I say something, you're taken aback the way Mac was.
Listen, good morning, Brian.
Good morning.
I don't think anybody's ever criticized you for not saying anything, Jack. I just want to point that out. Oh, sorry about that. Anyway, we got a little bit to talk about today. We'll finish up the college basketball talk here this morning. We got some news in the NBA, so we'll get into some Major League Baseball, and who knows where we'll go from there. First day of the Masters yesterday. Jack, I was struggling with it, but I've got a couple.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the golf for about a half hour, Keith.
Oh,
I watched it, and I mean, I understand golf to a point. Don't get me wrong. I'm not completely lost, but I had a hard time, with all the competitors. You look at the leaderboard, and I will say one thing about televised golf. They do it the right way. At least one golfer's going after the other. They don't have these low. Even in our major sports like baseball, there's a lull between pitches. There has to be. Football, there's a lull between plays. There has to be. But, hockey, there are these stoppages and plays. Same thing with basketball. But this golf is continuous. One hit after the other.
Yeah, you got 80 guys out there, and there's always somebody swinging the club. So it's...
My favorite is when they hit the ball into the woods, or whatever you call it, like Scotty Scheffler yesterday, trying to navigate their way out of it. That to me is the most fun.
I like golf when they're struggling. I'm not a big fan of golf tournaments where they all shoot 20 under par. I like guys with tough courses like Augusta National, and it's fun to watch them struggle out there like I do some days. So it's fun to watch. We'll get to some of that, but let's start out. And it's a few days past this now, but we haven't had a chance to address it. Michigan finishes a great run through this tournament and a great run through the regular season by beating UConn 69-63, I think the final.
By 7.
67-60. Yeah, that's right. But in any event, that was their closest game of the whole tournament. I think we have some music playing here yet. Hold on. Closest game of the whole tournament. Listen, if you told me this game would be in the 60s and UConn would have 22 offensive rebounds, I would have said UConn might have won this game. But Michigan, UConn got exactly the game they wanted, and Michigan was able to beat them at their own game, if you will. So kudos to Michigan and Dusty May and people who think they bought this championship because of the 5 transfers that started. I'm sorry. These guys were not playing championship basketball elsewhere. Cadeau, who was the outstanding player of the tournament, was a turnover machine at North Carolina. Mara barely played at UCLA. And Dusty May's got to get credit for doing a great job putting this team together and molding it into a team. Just a tremendous job.
No, Michigan did not play well. But the problem for UConn is they didn't shoot well. Michigan opened the door for UConn to pull off the upset, and UConn just couldn't cash in. Michigan's the better team between the two. But with that said, it was still a winnable game for UConn, but they just didn't knock down shots. Sometimes we got to just simplify things. We could talk about what a team should have done, what they shouldn't have done, but at the end of the day, you have to make your shots. And UConn shot poorly, and Michigan was able to survive in large part because of that.
Those 22 offensive rebounds, they didn't convert into enough points for sure.
Yeah.
Caravan, who played a little better, A lot better, really. He had a big 3-pointer in the last minute, and he had a shot at another one that I think would have cut the game to 2 points or maybe even 1, but he just comes up short. You can't listen. You got to give them credit for battling in this game because they were outmanned. Even with Lundeborg hurt, he played 31 minutes, but he obviously was not himself. He couldn't get off the floor, only had a couple of rebounds, and he did score 13 points, but he was saying himself he was hurt. Even with that factor, you could just watching the two teams play, you could see that Michigan was a more talented basketball team, but UConn's scrappy and they don't give up, and they kept this. This was the game they wanted to play. This was what they wanted, and this was the only chance they had to win was this type of game. And Michigan,
Michigan had that little spurt at the end of the first half, and they went into the locker room at halftime up, I think, 4 points. Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Sounds right.
And the thing about it is Michigan's attitude had to be sky high at halftime because they had played so poorly compared to their standards, the way they normally did. And they were still going in with the lead.
Yeah.
And the attitude had to be things can only get better from that point on. But Michigan could never quite break the game open. UConn hung around, but they can never get that close. They were kind of like in nowhere's land, kind of caught in the middle between Michigan pulling away and then moving right on Michigan's heels. But again, UConn just didn't knock down shots. And, I question the shot selections as well. It seemed there were a lot of rush shots on the part of UConn. There wasn't the ball movement there should have been. But you looked at the teams early in the game, and Michigan had all this size on UConn. And it just seemed like they were going to completely dominate the boards, and that really wasn't the case.
No.
UConn did have a lot of, second shot opportunities.
Yeah, they out-rebounded them for the game, especially on the offensive end, as you said. So when you look at them out there, they look like giants, those two guys for Michigan. And Mara didn't play that great a game. The key was really Cadeau was the key to this team through the tournament. He played consistent basketball, giving it up, scoring, creating for other guys, and not turning the ball over, which was his problem before he got to Michigan. Just a great job by Cadeau. And again, I got to give kudos to Dusty May, who I don't think is getting enough credit, right, at least yet. Maybe, as we look back at this later, he will, but too many people are talking about how he brought in 5 transfers. This is what college basketball is today. Might as well get used to it. And it's like he brought in 5 superstars. Again, these guys weren't necessarily lighting it up elsewhere, but he found a way and found guys that would fit his system. And he brought them in just 2 years from the bottom of the Big Ten to the national championship. So kudos to him. And another great job by Danny Hurley as well, by the way. And kind of an era ends now with Karabon leaving, and there'll probably be nobody left. Both of these teams, there could be nobody left from the starting fives on these two teams.
Well, if you're in the transfer portal or you're a elite high school player, you're going to want to play for Danny Hurley. Yeah, I mean he's kind of turned into a brand, at UConn, and Dusty May, just look what he did with the transfer portal this year. There's no reason why he shouldn't continue to have success with it, especially now that they're national champions.
Great job, by the way. Speaking of Dusty May, we talked on Monday about him removing his name from consideration for the UNC job. And I had thrown out at the end of the show that I had never heard Michael Malone's name come up. People have said it was there from the beginning. I have not heard it until Sunday. I said at the end of the show, Tyler Hansborough, to give credit, said there's a black or a dark horse candidate here, and it's Michael Malone. And I kind of just discounted it. And lo and behold, later that day, he's named the head coach.
I went on record as saying the job was going to go to Billy Donovan, and I did it in the last show. I was really confident Billy Donovan was going to get it. But I wonder whether North Carolina, in a sense, picked Malone at this point. Not that they wouldn't have picked him anyway, because he was the easiest selection. Billy Donovan's still with the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls are going to be in the play-in tournament. So he's going to be busy, with his NBA gig, until the end of the season. And we don't expect the Bulls to go far. But Jerry Reisendorf, the Bull owner, he wants Donovan there in the worst way. And how lucky is Donovan to have an NBA owner who wants him that badly as coach? And he's been with them forever, Donovan, is the Bull coach. And in fact, Jerry Reisendorf said the next Bull general manager has to be very supportive of Billy Donovan. That's a criteria. For the next GM, he's got to buy all in on Billy Donovan. Donovan's got to be his guy. He's got to be 100% behind Billy Donovan. So in reality, Donovan's going to have more power than the GM in the Bull organization. And yes, so I mean, he's in a great spot as far as job security with the Bulls. And who knows how much Billy Donovan enjoys the Bull job? Would he have found the need to go elsewhere? But now that's all irrelevant. Mike Malone is a good hire. Championship NBA coach with the Denver Nuggets. Successful the years they didn't win a title. They were usually in the mix. And it's a good hire. And they went outside the family as well. His daughter plays volleyball for North Carolina, but I don't know whether that counts or not.
I can't count that as family, no. And I'm with you. I said I thought Billy Donovan or Dusty May would get this job.
I never thought Dusty May. No, I thought Billy Donovan.
There has been chatter that Donovan was the first choice, but he wouldn't leave or be allowed to leave. I guess he could leave and face retribution in the courts with Reisdorf if he left. But with the transfer portal in full motion, they couldn't wait another 3 weeks for a head coach. They had to make a move now, and if he's a consolation prize, it's a pretty good one. Michael Malone, I like as a coach. I think he's a better bench coach. We'll find out about recruiting. He said UNC. He should be able to recruit, but I think he's a better bench coach than Hubert Davis. I think that will be a big difference. Hubert Davis did a fine job of recruiting. He just couldn't keep kids there, and he wasn't a great bench coach. So
Hubert Davis, if you look back and put emotions aside, he didn't do a bad job all in all. The standards are so high at North Carolina. That's what he had to battle with.
And so kudos to, I think Carolina did a good job. We'll see again, but Michael Malone will get a very short honeymoon period, I'm sure, in North Carolina. So, I mean, again, this team went 24-7, so you can't not do at least that well next year.
Mike Malone's been known to drive players hard. He's going to be successful at North Carolina.
I think he will. One other quick note. I didn't mention this to you previously, but I happen to notice a note I wrote down. One of the star players in the G League, Pate is his name. I didn't catch his first name. Has committed to Providence. So we're having more and more, again, talking about the landscape in college sports today. Now we've got another G League player. We had one during the season and went to Baylor. And now this kid's got full college eligibility left, and he's going to Providence next year. And
something strikes me as being wrong here. Keith, do you mean to tell me in the future, is this what we could look forward to? A kid who didn't an NBA player who didn't graduate college, he decides he wants to forego the money and go back to school. And they're going to allow him to go to college. Like hypothetically,
entirely possible.
The late great Kobe Bryant always said he kind of regretted a bit not going to college. He would have gone to Duke. He would have loved to experience the NCAA tournament. He always said, look, things worked out well for me. So he wasn't complaining. But could you imagine in the prime of his career when Kobe Bryant was feuding with Shaq, he decided, I've had it. I have enough money. I want to go to college for a year or two. And he calls up Coach K at Duke, and he's eligible. Coach K would welcome him there if he's eligible. And could you imagine Kobe Bryant playing against these college kids, the way he would have torn it up?
It's the extreme, but I would not say it can't.
It should be legal. And if he went to court to force the issue, how can you not allow him? If you allow guys in the G League, they're professionals the same way as the NBA players. they're just not quite as good. That's why they're in the G League.
We will see it eventually get tested. Maybe not with a Kobe Bryant type player, because we've already had a kid drafted who didn't make a team, who went back to college and played at Baylor this year. And oddly enough, he's in the transfer portal now. Now we got a G League player. So it's only a matter of time before somebody who's on the fringe, right? He gets drafted. He's on the fringe, but he makes a team, doesn't play. Bronny, LeBron James' son. Yeah, he's a good example of a guy who needs more college seasoning. And what?
Okay, but what about Cooper Flagg? Let's say Cooper Flagg. I have unfinished business at Duke. I'm leaving the Mavs for 1 year.
It's impossible.
I mean, how do you keep it? Can you imagine?
Right now, I can't think of anything.
They'd have to give up the money, though. They'd have to give up millions and millions. That's the thing to keep them away. They're not. I
think it's more likely to happen with a guy who's been there 10 years and made his money and says,
Well, how about this scenario? The NBA players on strike. And what's to stop a player from deciding, oh, what the heck? This is a lost season. I'm only going to get part of my money the year. I'm going back to college. I love it there.
I think it would be awful, obviously. I don't think you're in favor of it. But
I got a better one. LeBron James closes out his career playing 1 year for college. What college would LeBron play for?
Oh, he's got to go to Duke or someplace, doesn't he?
Well, no. Coach K was at Duke, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
Where might he go to?
I can see him going to. He's from Cleveland, right? So he's from Ohio.
Ohio State.
Yeah, gets in their national championship.
1 year, close it out. I'm done.
I mean, this would be the epitome of ridiculously, but
can you imagine Bronny needs more seasoning? He plays for Ohio State. LeBron joins him there. That would be great. I know it sounds ridiculous. In the case of LeBron James, it would never happen for simple reason. He'd want to milk out additional statistics in the last year to add to his NBA legacy. But in the case of Bronny James, I don't think it would happen. But someone is going to test it. Someone is going to test it who genuinely wants to go back to school, who's one of the really good NBA players. They got millions of dollars. Is going to want to go back to school, and why not be allowed to play? What the heck?
And I do agree it's goofy, Rick, and Jack would agree with me. I think of just the fact that we can sit here and have this hypothetical conversation that is not out of the realm of possibility is ridiculous. And it's amazing.
But I wasn't even aware it happened until you mentioned it to me. Player got cut from an NBA team, went back to school. I don't get it. If he made the roster and then got cut, he didn't make the roster, I assume. He got cut in training camp.
He never played an NBA game.
So once you play in an NBA game, the NCAA won't let you back. But if you can go back as a student, how could they stop you from playing if you're a full-time student?
It would end up in court. I guarantee it would end up in court. If the guy wanted to play bad enough, it would end up. I
got a better one. I got the last word on the topic. Could you imagine you get a player, he lives in the city, he's a full-time student. They play at night, the NBA teams. He takes day classes. It's in his contract. And he does it both. He plays in the NBA and the NCAA. He plays college ball as well. But the coaches allow him, like a Deion Sanders situation, to flip-flop.
I'm sure contracts would probably preclude you from doing that.
That's maybe too busy a schedule.
But again, it's something keep your eye on. Maybe we won't live to see it. I don't know, but it'll happen someday. I don't know. Anyway, a great college basketball season, I think, a great tournament, and we'll put a bow on it with that. Unless you got anything you want to add about college basketball right now, we'll pivot to professional basketball. The Knicks with a big win last night, 116. What was it? 112, 106.
106. Yeah.
Great game by Brunson and Downs played their best game together on the court. Hart played really well last night. I think
Downs. I thought that you said Downs.
Towns. Sorry, I might have said Downs.
You're thinking of a player that
It's
they're
early in the
looking
morning.
at someone's going to draft.
Yeah, I'm thinking Caleb Downs.
NFL.
Yes, Carl Anthony Towns. I think the starting five played the best they've played together all year long last night. Myself, Hart had a really good game. Bridges didn't score a lot, but did the things we'll see Bridges doing, I think, in the playoffs like he did last year. I think it's a big win for the Knicks after squeezing out one against the Hawks earlier in the week, finally beating some teams that are good teams. After they hadn't beaten one in a month. I think it's a big win for the Knicks.
I think you're getting a little carried away, Keith. You just say a big win, it's a win that they had to have. The Celtics didn't need the game as much as the Knicks. The Celtics are 2 games ahead of the Knicks with 2 games to go for the second seed. Okay, the Knicks mathematically stay alive, okay, by winning the game.
Mentally, it's big. You got to beat teams that are.
Yeah, I get it. For the Knicks, they had to have it, and they won the game. It's a feel-good victory. But for the Celtics, it's not that big of a deal that they lost.
I didn't say it was a big deal to the Celtics. I said it's a big deal to the Knicks.
The Knicks needed it more than the Celtics. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Why do you think they needed it? Because I'm telling you, I'm not saying standing-wise, because it doesn't matter. You got to beat whoever you got to beat in the playoffs anyway. I'm not trying to avoid teams. I'm not trying to get to teams. Mentally, though, you need to know you can beat these teams, and they were 3-1 against the Celtics in the regular season now. So,
yeah, again, I mean, the Knicks believe they can beat the Celtics if they play them in the playoffs. They did it last year. The Celtics believe they can beat the Knicks. So I don't think if the Knicks lost to the Celtics yesterday, would it have jarred their confidence a little bit? Perhaps. I'm not saying it wouldn't have, but based on last year, the Knicks would go into a new series with the Celtics still believing that they could beat them. And the same with the Celtics. It's one of those games where Jason Tatum was returning to Madison Square Garden for the first time since he suffered that horrific injury last year.
Yeah.
And to him, it was a mental hurdle. He didn't play that good of a game, shot 7 for 22 from the field, but he did grab 13 rebounds. So maybe I shouldn't say that he didn't play a good game. The rebounding alone made it a good game in a sense.
And Brown didn't play this game.
But Tatum even said afterwards he was just happy to leave Madison Square Garden. He joked around on 2 feet. That should tell you enough. He was relieved to get it out of the way. The demons of the last time was at MSG. And when the Celtics if they do play the Knicks again in the playoffs, and I'm going to tell you, there's a reasonable chance they're going to play, because if the Celtics are the 2 seed and the Knicks are the 3 seed, and they clear the decks, at the end, the final 4 teams left, assuming Atlanta doesn't make an unexpected run, and Atlanta's been playing really well, so you can't count them out. It's going to be Detroit against Cleveland and the Celtics against the Knicks as a final 4. That's going to be the series.
Yeah.
So this could be a prelude to a playoff scenario.
And as you said, they beat them. I know Tatum got hurt, but they were beating them when Tatum was healthy, I think, during that season.
No. I think the Knicks would have beaten them last year regardless.
I do as well.
Yeah.
And again, this Knicks team needs to advance to the championship game. If this is, and again, I guess I am. I do think championships are important. I don't think Knicks fans necessarily should be disappointed if they get to considering their history, end up in another conference championship game. But from a Knicks organization standpoint, if they're going to prove they're right in firing Coach Thibodeau, then they need to either get to a championship game or win a championship.
They've got at the very least get to the Eastern Conference Finals, because they would have equaled what Thibodeau did with the team. The key for the Knicks to get to the NBA Finals is pretty clear. They have Cleveland beat Detroit, let the Knicks beat the Celtics, and then the Knicks could beat Cleveland. Detroit's a bad matchup for the Knicks. They've been a bad matchup.
Yes.
And to beat the Pistons 4 times, 4 out of 7, it's doable, but it's going to be very difficult the way the Knicks match up against him. And Kate Cunningham's returned, he's back, and he would be in top form, by the time they met, if they do meet.
It's Kate Cunningham coming back, and we talked about a little bit on the Wednesday roundtable. I don't know that I'd rush him back yet. They don't even need him for the first round to win, I wouldn't think. I would want to make sure he's 100% before he came back. They want to get him some playing time before the playoffs. I might even hold him back in that first round series. But
well, you know what you do. That it's a simple solution that for whatever reason, coaches, GMs, organizations aren't smart enough to do. I agree with you, Keith. You don't rush them back. You ease them back in. And you know how you ease them back in? By not starting them. Keep them on the bench. And then if the game is somewhat close in the second half, you let him go in there and do his thing. Then you have to let him play hard at that point.
I agree. And we'll see what happens. But the Knicks, I agree with it. I think Detroit is the worst matchup of anybody in the East for the Knicks, and I don't want to see that at all. Another big story, Joel Embiid underwent emergency appendectomy surgery yesterday, right? The rest of his season is in doubt. Is this it for Philadelphia?
Well, we hope he's well. I mean, something like this happens. It's not a question of Joel Embiid having any type of negative attitude, emergency situation. Like I just said, we hope he's well, he recuperates well. And the Joel Embiid era in Philadelphia, it's got to come to an end. Do you see Joel Embiid being part of a championship team? The only way that could possibly happen is if with the Sixers' current roster is they, strike lightning, some way, somehow get an elite player. I mean, some way, somehow to add to what they have now. But maybe you get lucky in the draft, even though you're not drafting at the top of the draft. Some college players phenomenal, who knows? But they've got to move on, I think, from Embiid. Contenders would be interested in Embiid. There'd be a number of teams that would be interested. I don't think Embiid would get nearly as much in the trade market as, let's say, Giannis would get. It's going to get in the offseason.
No, just because of his health. I mean,
yeah, Giannis, I know gets hurt. He's been hurt this year, but he's not as injury prone as Embiid. But I think some team would be willing to maybe gamble with one of their veteran elite players for Joel Embiid. I mean, you don't know how these things, work out, what type of trade scenarios, but there are going to be a number of teams in the NBA who are going to leave the playoffs disappointed. And I think they're going to want to shake things up some way, somehow. And any trade for Joel Embiid is a major trade. And it might be good for Embiid because I get the feeling he wouldn't mind a change of scenery. I don't know what's inside his head, but he seems to have gone stale in Philadelphia.
I would agree with that wholeheartedly. And it's interesting. I think that two teams that we've seen until recently being one of the more dominant forces in the East, Milwaukee and Philadelphia, are likely going to blow everything up, I would think, after this season's over, in this postseason. You talked about a little bit about Giannis. Milwaukee's in a bad spot with him. He's not coming back there. He can't come back there. It's too fractured. Doc Rivers is probably going to get fired again. And they're going to have to start all over. And it certainly won't be with LeBron James. He didn't have anything nice to say about Milwaukee or Memphis these last couple of weeks. But what do you think with Giannis? Again, always talk about the Knicks and Giannis, and there has been for a couple of years. I'm not a big fan of that move. I think it would take too much to get him, and I think he'd have to be too big of a star, if you will. That isn't what this team does.
But that's how you feel right now, Keith. You feel that way at this moment because you're all giddy about the Knicks beating the Celtics
I am.
and beating the Hawks, and they were lucky with the Hawks with that crazy shot past half court that banked in, but was a fraction of a second slow and waved off.
Wins or wins.
But if the Knicks don't even get to the Eastern Conference Finals, would you feel comfortable with them running it back with everyone they have?
No,
they'd have to make a major deal. If the Knicks get to the finals, you'll be happy with them running it back with the same cast of characters. For the most part, you would be. You wouldn't want the team to be shaken up.
With a few tweaks.
A few tweaks. Tweaks is running it back. Everyone has tweaks.
Yep.
Come on. When I say running it back, I mean no impact. No, that's what I mean. Now, if the Knicks get eliminated in the Eastern Conference Finals, it's iffy whether you're going to want to run it back or not. Maybe not. We'll see the way it goes. But if they don't even get to the Eastern Conference Finals, how can they run it back? The fan base expects something drastic. And if you're the Knicks, what price are you paying for Giannis with Milwaukee? I mean, they're going to want, Mikal Bridges, Karl Anthony Towns. They're going to want a couple of guys on the, off the bench, maybe Mitch Robinson.
And a couple of first-round picks.
And, to tweak something. Yeah, like that, okay? I mean, I'm just approximating what they're going to want, okay? And, I mean, I don't see the Knicks parting with both Towns and Robinson. They need someone, for the rebounding aspect. But they're going to have to do something pretty drastic. Did the Knicks have the first-round picks?
I'm not. I'm not.
Even on the Mikal Bridges deal.
A bunch of them. So they made
a bunch of them.
Yeah, I might be in my 80s when they have another one. But again, Giannis has Milwaukee, and the league. Whoever's trading for Giannis will have the Bucks over a barrel a little bit because they don't have any leverage. They know they got to move them. So they
have leverage because they're going to have a bunch of teams bidding on them.
Well, that's
the leverage that they're going to have. Is there any team out there that has a star player who they'd be willing to part with for Giannis that Milwaukee could think, wow, we're getting a star back, so we don't have to simplify the deal? That would be close to being a one-for-one deal. They could make it a multi-player deal, but Giannis and the one star player from another team would kind of be the centerpiece of the deal. Is there any other team out there? I mean, you have Kawhi Leonard's not coming to Milwaukee.
And he's not going 1-for-1 for Giannis at this point, Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi Leonard's still good. Don't kid yourself.
I'm not saying he's not, but I don't think healthy he's as good. With both of them healthy, I don't think he's as good as Giannis.
I mean, Golden State, can they offer a package? Everyone but except Steph Curry would be available.
Well, here's the thing, too. Does Giannis have any rights to deny trades? So he doesn't want to go probably to Memphis, right, or wherever.
Well, that's a factor too.
I don't know what his.
I mean, I'm sure they would be happy to ship Jay Morant to Milwaukee, but Milwaukee wouldn't want him.
You know where I think he'd be interesting, and I don't know if they have the package to put together to get him. I think him going to Dallas would be an interesting trade to team him and Cooper Flag up. I think would be.
I don't keep calling this as in trade. Dallas doesn't have the pieces.
I don't think they do, but I think that's a spot that I could see he would really help the team. Well, he's going to help any team, right? But I'm looking for you talked about. I don't see one. A disgruntled.
If you don't have an impact player, you've got to give a number of really good young players with potential, with draft choices on top of that. I mean, that's the only way.
I thought about the Lakers, Danny, but I don't. What are the Lakers going to give up to get him? I mean, they're not giving up Luka or Reeves.
Austin Reeves would have to be part of it.
He'd have to go.
That actually makes sense.
Yeah.
That actually makes sense. Or LeBron's not going to Milwaukee, so let's not even hear that.
No, he's talking about letting him go, and so that they have
Austin Reeves. Yeah, that deal would actually would make some sense, a multiplayer deal. Austin Reeves would be the centerpiece for Milwaukee. Now, you get Giannis. You have him come to Milwaukee, and let's say LeBron's going to be back next year. Let's assume he will be with the Lakers. Luka, Giannis, LeBron. How do they mesh? I'm not sure, but it's exciting. You're talking about three superstars, even though LeBron's not quite a superstar. No, he's still a heck of a player. LeBron's still a heck of a player. Make no mistake about it.
LeBron's already accepted, in my mind anyway, watching him the last month or better, he's already accepted the fact that he's like the third wheel there and does other things to help the team win rather than just have to be the main guy night after night. Right now he is because of injury.
LeBron's always been a team player, to his credit. He's always been a team player.
Yes, but he's always been the main guy, and he isn't right now, and he knows that, I think. And I think he's that, right? So I agree.
No. I think LeBron wants to win at the end, and then getting Giannis, the way it increases the chances in a sense. No Austin Reeves there, Giannis in his place. I would make the deal if I'm the Lakers. I would part with Reeves for Giannis. It would be a multiplayer deal. The Lakers have a number of young players there on the team on the fringes.
Yeah,
that come off the bench. They would part with a couple of them over there. And Milwaukee would maybe Giannis's brothers would have to be part of the deal. They would ride the bench.
At least one of them. Then,
but the Lakers could bear with that. They just sit on the bench, Giannis's brothers there.
Well,
but,
if LeBron's there, they can keep Bronny company, and if he's not, then they got a spot for
Bronny's been playing lately. Bronny shot 4 for 7 yesterday.
He's had to play because there's nobody else healthy there.
Bronny's ticket to staying in the league is his defense. I don't mean to say can't shoot the ball, but it's his defense. You know what the thing with Bronny is? For him to really develop, he's got to play. He's got to play. He can't just be practicing all the time. He's been playing a lot more lately. And I think part of it is J.J. Redick heard me, even though he didn't hear me. The way to keep LeBron motivated is by playing Bronny now late in the season. That gets LeBron kind of excited again, charges him up.
Yeah, Bronny should have stayed in college and he would have played plenty. So, again,
well,
that's the whole thing.
I mean, people blame LeBron saying it was his decision. I think LeBron would have gone along with whatever Bronny would have said. If Bronny said, I want to play in college, this and that, that's what I want to do. I don't think LeBron would have really objected to it at all.
I think a good dad would have said, Bronny, you're not ready. Stay in school.
But LeBron felt Bronny was and is ready. That's the difference. I really think he felt that. But but I really think he felt that.
He was a year and a half removed from a major medical issue, played a half a season of mediocre college basketball at USC. He was not ready for the NBA, not in any way, shape, or form. And LeBron's smart enough to know that. I think he selfishly wanted to play with his son, and he didn't stand.
I don't like the word selfish here. I mean, it was a dream of his to play with his son, to fulfill that dream, and he felt Bronny was ready, but Bronny, wasn't ready. I mean, that's the thing. But then again, there's a school of thought that if Bronny had played a lot, if Bronny went to a weak team like the Washington Wizards, for example, he would have played a lot more. The problem is he went to a good team.
Yeah.
That was going to be limited in how much he was going to play. I watched Bronny play against Dallas. Very quick on the court defensively. He's good defensively. He gets around. But his shooting hasn't been good thus far, and I don't know how much better it's going to get.
Listen, I think it's sad because I've said this since the very beginning. We're never going to know how good or bad Bronny James is or could be, as far as good, because he came out way too soon, wasn't ready to play, and was thrown into a bad situation, as you kind of said. He's not going to get a chance to play. You can't get better at his age by sitting around or maybe even playing in the G League. I don't know, but he should have stayed. He should have stayed. He probably wish he could go back. He'd be a good example of a guy who might want to go back. Who knows? Kept the Lakers under wrap way too long for one championship.
I don't care whether the Laker championship was in the bubble. It was a championship, an NBA championship. I count it the same way if it wasn't in the bubble. And in a certain sense, I can make an argument that it was harder to win a championship in the bubble than it was out of it, if I want to make that argument. Some people are saying it's easier. It wasn't easier. I mean, it's hard both ways. I give the Lakers credit for that championship, full credit.
I mean, it was a asterisk season, if you will, because
no asterisk to me.
Hold on. In the sense that it wasn't a true NBA season. I'm not, but let me finish, because what I will tell you is, asterisk, no asterisk, it doesn't really matter. I'm just using a figure of speech. The Lakers had no better advantage, and LeBron had no bigger advantage than anybody else, or disadvantage than anybody else playing in the bubble, to your point. So I was going to agree with you is what I was going to do, Jack. You can give me a chance, though, to agree with you. Yeah, no advantage. So anyway, do we have a current player in the NBA who's poised to take the crown of the best of his generation without ridiculous comparisons? Yeah.
We do. It's two guys potentially to gear on, Anthony Edwards and Cooper Flagg. It's going to take a little while.
What about Wemby?
Flagg. Well, Wemby. Wemby's already there.
Well, that's fair.
As far as I'm concerned, but no, it's a few guys. I mean, I think we're going to be having I expressed myself wrongly. Wemby is the guy.
Yeah, because they're the same generation.
SGA, Cooper Flagg,
Wemby,
Anthony Edwards are going to be a gentle step behind Wemby going forward. Okay, Wemby is going to be the best player in the NBA. Jokic is there right now, but Jokic isn't going to be there in a few years.
Generation, though, if we're going to talk about Wemby and Flagg, which, and I think they're the two guys.
Well, Wemby's going to be ahead of Flagg going forward. Wemby's going to be ahead of everybody.
But that's the same generation. Jokic is before them. That's a different generation. He's 10, 12 years older than these guys. So
Wemby's going to be the guy. I think the Anthony Edwards case is going to be interesting, because the Timberwolves are going to have to win an NBA championship for him to be truly put in the upper tier. If you talk about all the players with the potential to be a superstar in the league, we keep looking at Anthony Edwards. He's the most charismatic of the whole group. But yeah, and he's been a heck of a player, Anthony Edwards. Don't get me wrong, but he hasn't quite gotten into superstardom yet. Cooper Flagg is a rookie. So he's been great as a rookie. He's shown his potential. He's going to be a great, great player going forward. But Anthony Edwards, he has the potential to be the face of the NBA. Potential, but I don't think he's going to get there. I don't think it's going to get there. Wemby right now is the best of the bunch, and Wemby's only going to get better. But Wemby has to stay healthy. I have concerns. Is he really built to last, Wemby, health-wise?
We'll find out. I mean, he's still got to bulk that body up some and stay healthy. So, you know what it's going to come down to, though? Because it always does with guys like me and other people. Championships are going to determine between these three guys who's the best.
Well, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. If San Antonio wins it this year, and they very well might, if they go head-to-head with OKC, I would, at this moment, I'd pick San Antonio to beat OKC in the playoffs. I know it's close. They've had success in the regular season, but if San Antonio wins the NBA championship this year, they're going to win it the next couple of years after this year. They're going to go on a run of 3 in a row. I'm telling you, and if they don't win it this year, I'm already giving you my pick for next season. Next season's NBA champions. A year, way in advance, Keith, the San Antonio Spurs.
That's a way too early prediction, but good. That's a good call. I think listen, I do think it'll come down to championships. I have an interesting question for you on this topic. Great players. Would Michael Jordan be considered, with the great reverence that he is today, if he never won a single NBA championship?
No.
He wouldn't. Right?
No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't. It's just, the way it goes. That's why LeBron made a good move leaving Cleveland when he first did. Because if LeBron James was a Cleveland Cavaliers whole career and refused to move, they weren't going to trade him ever. It's hard to see where LeBron would have won a championship because they wouldn't have been able to draft Kyrie Irving.
Possibly,
and Cleveland is not a destination place for free agents.
Dave thinks this.
No, I'm talking about then. I'm talking about 6-7 years from now, long term. I'm talking about in terms of having like a 17, 18-year career. That's what I'm talking about.
His body will fill out. His health will be fine, I think.
Well, big guys sometimes tend to get hurt a little more, but then again, I think I'm thinking of Porzingis a little bit with that. I mean, wasn't Wilt Chamberlain a big guy? Jabbar was a big guy, and they stayed relatively healthy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it all depends on the individual guy. Duncan never got hurt.
Yeah.
To use the same.
Well, Duncan was built a bit better than Wemby,
Let's pivot to the Major League Baseball. The Yankees put on another great offensive performance. Listen, 8-4, fine. They're off to a fine start without Cole, without Rendon, without Volpe. But they got to get this offense going. That one hit yesterday. Caballero's hitting 130. Grisham's hitting about 160. Ryan McMahon is hitting less than my granddaughter weighs, for crying out loud. He's hitting like 060 or something. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. We got a couple guys that are playing well, but this offense is just putrid right now.
They'll start hitting. I would be more concerned about the pitching, and I'm more concerned about their bullpen. Their bullpen is okay, but you want more than an okay bullpen if you want to have a championship team. Bednard has been okay, but he's been less than shut down.
He's been really good since he got traded to the Yankees. He's been very good since he got traded. Overall, since he got traded to the Yankees.
I'm talking about this season.
All right. I mean, again, it's fair.
And their middle relievers, I like Tim Hill a lot, but I think they have an overflow of starters once Cole and Rondon come back from injured reserve. So someone is going to have to go to the bullpen, and that'll strengthen the bullpen. So if their starters stay healthy when Rondon and Cole come back, things will work out in the bullpen, because I'm not sure exactly who it might be. Lewis Hill, who will go to the bullpen conceivably.
Today, by the way, first start today.
Yeah. So we'll see. It'll work itself out.
It'll work
itself out. But if Brian Cashman can nab a quality reliever, at some point before the trade deadline, and the trade deadline's not close, I realize that. I think the Yankees could use it, absolutely. Yeah, if they might very well need it at that point. But
I mean, they wasted a gem yesterday from Cam Sheetler. He was awesome yesterday, and they muster one
hit the whole game. Yeah, it happens. Look, it happens. I mean, Yankees are a good hitting team all in all, even though they haven't quite produced all the time this season. But you look at some of the spots, you look at Caballero. If he's not hitting, I mean, he's a threat on the bases, great base steal. And Anthony Volpe is coming back. So that means Volpe is going to be starting. And if Volpe doesn't produce, guess what? They have George Lombard, their number one prospect in the minors, who's a shortstop. So that position is well taken care of. At third base, if McMahon isn't hitting, you got Ahmad Rosario, who you could move there full time if you really wanted to.
He didn't hit righties very well, though, either. So he's
adequate, but he's adequate if he played full time there.
I think I'll make a prediction about the Yankees in third base right now, that either Volpe or Lombard is a third baseman by midseason. I think they'll give up that platoon or part of that platoon.
Lombard's a shortstop, though.
They can make him a third baseman just very easily.
I don't think coming in as a rookie they would do that. And Volpe's a shortstop. I understand you could move one of them to another position. I think McMahon gives you great defense, but he's got to hit more. They can't. Yeah, you can't afford the light bat like his the whole season.
He's got to hit a lot more than 160 060. I mean, good God, I can do that.
Yeah, you know, funny thing I heard the other day, we hear this about hiring more coaches.
Yeah.
We're talking about basketball. I heard Michael Kay say this, and this was really revealing. You look on the bench for basketball, and this applies to baseball as well, and maybe other sports. Red Holtzman with the Knicks, when they won a couple of championships, he didn't have an assistant coach. Danny Whalen, the trainer, the athletic trainer, was his main assistant. Now they have like 8 guys on the bench.
You need to row 2 rows behind you just for coaches.
We were talking about college before. Or I don't want these guys to lose their job. Do you really need all those coaches?
Yeah, well, you've got 2 or 3 hitting coaches on every team too, by the way, now. So
I saw with the Yankees, they have an assistant hitting coach.
They do. All teams do now. There's always an assistant hitting coach. Yeah, all teams. Boomer bust since Bernie wrapped it up. What? Well, Bernie retired about the time Aaron Boone came into play, didn't he? Maybe not that.
No, a lot earlier. Bernie retired.
No.
At the end of the 2006 season.
That sounds about right. Yeah. No, I was kidding when I said that.
Yeah, I mean, Boone came in more than 10 years later. Come on.
On the other side of town, the Mets are 7-6, and a little bit similar situation. You got, Bichette struggled. Lindor's been absolutely horrendous.
He hasn't got an RBI yet, Lindor.
He has not got an RBI. I don't think he's got an extra base hit either. And has made some fundamental mistakes as well. Their pitching is pitching well. Another great performance from the rookie here the other day. Why is his name escaping me? Nolan, what's his name?
McLean.
Nolan McLean. Another great performance by him. Other than Peterson, the starting rotation has pitched great. Not scoring enough runs. You think the same thing? So when the weather warms up, so will the bats, is kind of what you're saying?
Well, Juan Soto is out. I mean, and he's their big bat. I mean, Juan Soto.
Somebody needs to step up when guys get hurt. That's part of the game too, and nobody's stepping up here. Marcus Simeon's not hitting. Nobody in the outfield's hitting. With Soto out. The Mets, I think of these 2 teams, I think the Mets are primed to disappoint this year. I don't know.
No, I don't think so. The weather's really been cold. The games they're playing at Citi Field, and it's like you said, the pitching's been good. If you look at every team's position in the standings, the Mets are right there, and the Mets are going to be fine. They really are. The Mets have a good team, actually. And Lindor, he's going to break out of this. He's been making some mental mistakes. I don't get it. I think the controversy over the captainship may be affecting him a little bit because Lindor looks at himself as being like a lead on the team. And Steve Cohn is saying that he doesn't want any captains. He doesn't believe in any captains. That's not true. I don't believe Steve Cohn. I think he's conveniently making that up. And I'll tell you why he's conveniently making it up. Because you can't make Lindor the captain, and you're going to have Juan Soto for 14 more years. And Juan Soto's a big star.
Guys can lead without a C on their chest. They don't need a C, and he can lead.
They want it. It means a lot to them, the official acknowledgement, and I don't blame them. I think the captain's position, for the most part, is overrated. It's overrated. But look, some guys are natural captains. We look at them that way. And Aaron Judge, for example, the whole Yankee team will rally around him. No one has a problem Aaron Judge being the captain. He's the obvious choice. But with the Mets, Can you make Lindor and Soto co-captains? I mean, does that work? Is that a bit of a cop-out?
It is a bit, but there have been co-captains on teams before, so I don't disagree with that. I know Chris was half kidding about Rowdy Tellez at first base for the Mets. One guy who's been performing well for the Mets and maybe it will be important as the season goes on is Vientos has played very well here early in the season, and he may take that first
ball's up there, first base. Yeah.
That first base job away from Polanco if he plays some defense and keeps that hitting
He's
going.
been really good defensively, Vientos. Really good defensively, and you're right on that point. Well, but you can use Polanco to DH as well. So I wonder how much they're going to miss Pete Alonso. Alonso hasn't been hitting for Baltimore. He's gotten off to a terrible start himself. But I hate to say it's still early, but it's still early. Come on.
It is early. But you know what? Listen, we're getting to be 12. After this weekend, we'll be 15 games into the season. It gets late early, to kind of paraphrase Yogi. It gets late early there. Listen, some good. Danny brought up a good point. I was going to mention the Rangers have played some pretty good baseball, and of course I know that's a little shot at us with the pesky Dodgers. I think that's an interesting series this weekend. I think the Mets have an interesting one with the A's going across town after playing the Yankees. The A's are a very interesting team this year. You got Houston and Seattle this week.
They got Jeff McNeil. He plays against his old team, the Mets.
And they've got some really good young hitters there who will start. They haven't hit much early in the season, but they're starting to come around a little bit too. Yankees and Tampa Bay and Pittsburgh and the Cubs. I think there's some interesting series this weekend. Early, yes, but we're going to sit here in 2 weeks and we're going to be,
Well, what did Paul Skeens say? You mentioned something.
Oh, a great point. I'm glad you brought that up. As we know, Connor Griffin, their rookie shortstop who debuted last week, they signed him to I want to say 9-year, $140 million contract to lock up young talent, which I know you're in favor of. Paul Skeens was asked about this, and his reply was, he said, good for him. He's going to be the face of this franchise for a long time to come. And I think that's a very interesting comment from a guy who's the face of the franchise right now. And he may not expect to be there much longer if that's the way.
Well, that Skeens is more or less letting the Pirates know he's pretty unhappy with them.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many years Skeens has before he's a free agent. He might be arbitration eligible next year.
I think next year he could be arbitration eligible, but he's got probably 2 or 3 years before he can be a free agent. So
free agent, yeah. So, I mean, if the Pirates believe Paul Skeens is going to be a generational pitcher for them, it could be one. They should work out a deal now for big money. Bypass the arbitration, process and all. And he could be 3 years away from being a free agent. That's when you're able to sign him. The closer player becomes to being a free agent, the harder it is to sign him. Do it now because they're going to offer him the money late on anyway. They're going to offer him a monster contract if he's ever a year away from free agency, which is going to be a lot more than they would, have to pay now. But these teams, a lot of them don't have a vision. Some of them do, like the Mariners. They signed up Julio Rodriguez for a lot of years. The Padres signed up Fernando Tatis. The Braves, Ronald Acuna, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You have to have a vision and sign guys, to a long-term deal. Yeah, really a good 3 years before free agency, at least 3 years.
I agree 100%. You just can't give them a bunch of opt-outs during that either. If I'm going to give you generational wealth, I'm not going to give you a chance to come back to the table every 2 years when you feel you're underpaid either. So you can't have it both ways. But great show today, Jack. We got to wrap it up. Check out the Masters this weekend, guys. We'll get a chance to talk about it. We'll talk about the winner on Monday. Check out Jack on the debate show tomorrow with Brian and James. And I'll be back Sunday with the Sunday Stream of Consciousness, and we'll see you 8 o'clock Monday morning. Have a great weekend, guys. Bye-bye.